I'm going to go ahead and kick this off. So hello and welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know the team is super excited for the first ever BGA Roundtable that we are hosting. Just a couple of quick housekeeping items before we get started. Today's session is being recorded and we will share the recording at the end of today's session. If you have questions for our team or any of the panelists as we're going through, feel free to utilize either the chat or the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen here, and we will either answer those if they make sense in the moment, or we will hold off and then get to some questions at the end if time allows. So that's enough out of me. I will hand things over to the main MC of our show today, Bhavna, one of our customer success managers.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Claudia, for the introduction. It really helps to calm the nerves down before we start. So yeah, thanks for that. Hello, everyone. Everybody who's listening, thank you so much for taking this time out at this time of the day and joining us. We promise this is going to be a good 45 minutes to join and listen in what's going to roll on. So yeah, welcome to the first ever Proformex BGA Roundtable, Enforce Strategies for Success. My name is Bhavna Mittal. I'm a senior CSM here who manage our BGA distributor relationships. Very, very excited to have all of you here today because we have been wanting to put something like this together for a pretty long time. And no guesses, this was like a biggest ask from our GA partners that, yeah, Proformex needs to come out with something like this where all the best brains can come together and share strategies and ideas that have been changing their operations and the industry on the Enforce sides. So let's kick things off with something I like to start with. And my mentor in this industry always used to say that, Bhavna, in our industry, repeat business happens when you over communicate. But the next question always was, how do you ensure that that communication point or that phone call that we are making brings value to our advisors? How do we make sure that those touch points are meaningful for our clients? So whether it was about sending a crucial client's inventory or a policy upcoming for conversion, or maybe a comprehensive book of business highlighting enforced policies that are fit for replacements, it was all about delivering the enhanced servicing, but at the same time, uncovering new business opportunities. Because to be honest, it's all about business, it's all about ROI, and we're going to make sure that the applications keep flowing in as we go. So today we'll hear from our amazing panelists here about how they are mastering the difficulties and the challenges around enforce management. These are the people and the experts who know how to transform these touch points into those powerful, value-driven interactions. So I will stop talking now and we will dive in and learn from their experiences. First, let's get to know our amazing panelists. Lisa, we'll start with you. Let's have a brief introduction, just a quick who you are, what you do, and a little about your firm, your BGA.
Sure. Thanks, Bhavna. I'm Lisa Corbus with the Mound Agency. We're a small BGA in Ohio. We've been around for over 30 years, and I've been with the agency for about 21. We do all the normal BGA, life, DI, Medicare, annuities. And my position is I'm office manager, kind of do a little bit of everything. So that's a little bit about us.
Sweet. Thanks, Janelle. Alexa, what about you?
Hi, everyone. My name is Alexa Smith, and I am the operations manager here at Duncan Advisor Resources. We are a full-service brokerage general agency located just outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but we do have remote employees all over the East Coast. Our team consists of 4 case managers, 5 external sales producers. We have 3 internal wholesalers. We also have an in-house underwriter. Our specialists also include underwriting, licensing, contracting, commissions, and enforced policy owner service. My daily routine is basically problem solving, carrier escalations, and helping to bridge that gap between our sales team and our operations team, always working to ensure the best outcomes for our agents and clients.
Awesome. Very great. Thanks, Alexa, and welcome here on the panel. Mike, let's go with you next.
Sure, great. My name is Mike Collins. I work for BGA Financial. We're a broker general agency based out of upstate New York. I've been here about 13 years, and that's my whole history in the industry. And BK has been here about 25 or maybe a little bit longer. But we have a number of different, fantastic relationships with some of the wirehouses out there, and a ton of policies in force.
For sure, yes. The number of the policies that your account we have in the system, yeah, we can break a record with that. But last but not the least, Craig, welcome to the panel.
I guess I'm the old guy here without any hair. Our agency, Burst and Sokol Agency, the headquarters is in Cleveland. We have a second office in Columbus. Our agency just celebrated in June of this year our 50th year in business, which we're very proud of. We are a typical brokerage agency doing life, annuity, long-term care, senior health, and life settlements. Excuse me. Hey, we are strong on the service side for our brokers. Let me shut this guy up. Come here. We are strong on the service side for the brokers. And the one thing that I've always noticed that when I talk to agents, they always have a problem of knowing what policies they sold way back yonder.
Yes, yes. And that's why we love Enforce, just going back and making it helpful. Well, thanks everyone. It's awesome to see such diverse group here today. So yeah, let's get into the good stuff, which everyone want to hear. And Craig, because I already have you now, I'll start with you. And the first topic we want to cover today is that recently in the past few years, we have definitely seen a trend shift in the industry where now more and more BGAs are thinking and focusing about Enforce management. Earlier, where it was more like a liability that our BGAs used to look at Enforce as, but now it's coming like an asset, like a tool and an ammo that they can leverage to get not just new business, but enhanced servicing at the same time. So based on your experience, you must have noticed that the biggest way. Why do you think this shift is coming along? Is it about providing better service to the advisors, maybe founding new business opportunities, setting yourself apart, or just a mix of all? What are your thoughts?
Well, being the old guy in the room, I would say that years ago, I used a 3-foot method of prospecting, and I could find an agent by just reaching out, and they were everywhere. Today, many of those Northwestern Mutual, New York Life agents, New England, they don't even exist, capital planners, whoever, guardian guys, they're now collecting AUMs. So the pool of agents that we can go out to and reach out to is smaller and smaller. So the BGAs have to come up with a different way to find sales and create sales. And the easiest way to do it is to go back to your clients. You look back at all those policy holders that we sold term insurance. The agent doesn't service this stuff. They got paid once, 90%, and that was it. No renewals. Great for the insurance company. They don't have to have all the expense of redoing checks over and over and accounting for them, but bad for the consumer because there was no contact. I can tell you honestly that I remember in 2000 when we had XXX hit the books and we had stacks and stacks and stacks of apps. We couldn't even process them in time. We had 5 or 6 case processors at the time.
Right.
Mike's shaking his head. He probably remembers that. But I would tell you that in 2010, at the end of those 10-year term products, in 2015, at the end of the 15-year, 2020, at the end of the 20-year product, we called agents and we sent them a list of their agents of their clients, who had policies purchased 10, 15, or 20 years ago off of our AMS system. And I literally got calls from agents saying, that's not my client. I'm saying, what the hell are you talking about? It is your client. If you want somebody the commission back, you can. So it's really important, I think, the shift is how do we find sales? How do we promote these? The conversion options on these things are great through Proformex. Just knowing when the conversion period is up, that's great service.
Absolutely.
For these guys. So it's a shift, I think, because the BGA needs to find new sources of revenue and create new sales because there's less and less agents out there collecting AUMs.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I think that was the case way back when the policies were written. I think the intention was just buy once and lock it up in your locker and you don't have to do anything with that. But no, that's not the case. Somebody needs to look at see what's happening. Mike, do you want to add something to what Craig mentioned based on your experience you have seen within your firm?
Yeah, and Craig said it as plainly as you can. It's always about when's the next application going to happen? When is the next case that your client that we're going to be able to work on? And in our example, the Proformex from a service perspective enhances the partnership for the people that we may go back to for repeat business. So the relationship that we're able to have with them, because we can easily report what they've done, how it's doing, and not just what they've done, right? I think that Craig, you mentioned that as a consistent question, but that analysis of the book as well to say, just so you're aware, but obviously we know that conversation is hopefully leading to, is there an adjustment that needs to be made here? Is there another client that you'd like to talk about? And just another touch point or opportunity to interact.
Correct. Yeah. So nobody was looking at these because there was no easier way, resourceful way to look at these policies or business written a while ago. But now the technology is helping us.
Unless they were doing it themselves, right? Certain agents might have tried to do it themselves, but that's a challenge.
Perfect. Alexa, what do you think? You being the younger of the lot, how you must have not seen the shift, but what are your thoughts on what we are seeing today?
Well, we're seeing the result of the shift. I think it's a mixture of both for us. Right now our big focus is that policy review, as everyone's been saying, and we've learned that a lot of our agencies and our advisors, they don't have a good tracking mechanism. They don't have a good system. They don't have one good system to track all of these older policies, all these newer policies, and all the opportunities. So I think it's a mixture. It's a mixture of both. You want to provide that enhanced service, but you also want to look for the new opportunities.
Sweet. Lisa, I know Mount Agency has been focusing on servicing for a long time. Where did you notice any shift in all those years in this business, that when everyone was talking about servicing is an important aspect of industry as well?
And we may be a little different because our primary agent is a PNC independent agent. So of course their focus is not the other products, that we sell. It's more of their PNC customers. But we've always tried to, say we're their back office. We're going to provide you with any kind of customer service we can. So I think it's always been there, but I think it becomes more important, just like everyone else said. Everybody's trying to get new agents, keep the ones they have, and, keep your business. So anything you can give to those agents that you do have is a good thing for them and us.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing there. Let's getting into the nitty-gritty of everything that we talked about, how there was a shift and how now the firms are managing their book, or we're trying to get a grasp on what's happening inside these book of businesses. What's maybe one or two operational inefficiencies that you might have come across when trying to manage these book of policies just on a manual side? I'm sure there are some interesting stories there when you're trying to get a system in place, but there's no technology. What are some inefficiencies that you see or have seen with your side? Mike, do you want to share yours first?
Sure. The best way I can describe it is my attempt to create some sort of system prior to either being aware of or being a client of Proformex, and it was for a single specialist and a 2-year period of the policies they had put in place. And I was trying to create monthly events that would show up and tell me, okay, these were the policies that would have placed. But then you all of a sudden get another list of action items. The volume itself multiplies about as quickly as it can, and really, sort of saps the productivity out of the task, as far as actually being able to use the information.
I 100% agree. And that's the consensus that I've heard from firms that are like 50, 60, 70 years in business now. This is exactly what's happening. What about you, Craig? I'm sure you have some interesting fact to share there.
Well, the real inefficiency comes in that the agent calls the BGA and says this, because, hey, can you give me a copy of my policies? I need to know what all the policies I sold with these. Okay, the AMS system does not tell us what's in force and what's not. Your system does. Wonderful. If I were to go back into my AMS system and pick up use Bob as an agent, and he's got 150 policies, those 150 policies are probably scattered through 6, 7, 8, 9 companies. I've got to call each one of those companies. I have to employ somebody to call each one of those companies. And typically, some of these companies only give you 5 at a time. What the hell? Or I have to employ somebody to go on their website and put each policy number in, make sure it's the right one, and then transfer that data over to a spreadsheet for the agent. God, is that a pain in the ass? Excuse my French, but a pain in the ass, right? This system does it all for you. It's right there. It tells you what's in force, when the end date's going to be, when the end of the conversion period is. You can set the parameters so it'll let you know when it's coming due in advance, 30, 60, 90 days, whatever you want. It's easy as pie. And guess what? I don't have to take somebody's time to do it.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree.
Instead of being admin, we can be proactive and reach out to an agent and make money.
Sweet. Yeah. No, I agree. Right information at the right time. That was crucial for us to get our hands on. Alexa, is it similar for you?
It is similar. I was nodding my head as Craig was speaking there. I mean, tracking down the carrier information from carrier websites and long hold times, and you have to call this number and you're transferred here. And Proformex just consolidates all of that into one place at our fingertips, and it's great.
Right. And then it just makes it easier to take that information and go to the next step where the real action is. So I think that's what bridges the gap. Lisa, what are your thoughts on that part?
The same. I mean, we were doing the same thing, kind of a manual process. And as Craig said, you're looking at the websites, trying to find out, you know, what policy's still in force, what's not. And as they all said, Proformex puts it all there together. So you have it and you can kind of go from there. Not have to do so much back.
And the policy sometimes written 1980s, even go back at 1970s. That was hard to track and see what's happening with those. Interesting. Yeah, really interesting stuff. Finally, just thinking about the bigger picture here, how do you see in-force management helping with the recruiting and keeping the advisors? Because this is a conversation that have come up a ton in conferences that we attend and the sessions that we have with the firms. Like, they are our biggest asset class, right? The advisors. So we need to make sure that we not just recruit them, but we retain them for a longer relationship. And so have you had a personal experience, just if it helps with attracting and retaining the top talent when it comes to in-force and advisors? Craig, what do you think?
Flipping huge.
Yeah.
Flipping huge. I call on brokers, and one agency I can think in particular, you know, commissions are the same, blah, blah, blah. Or they're going to pay me 10% more or 5% more than you will. Well, let me tell you, I'm going to make you up. I'm going to make it up for you. Here's how I'm going to do it. All those policies you sold, even if they weren't with me, I can get you all that data, and I can let you know when they're coming due, when the conversion period is, and I can alert you so you can contact them and renew the policies. Now, if they're not doing that for you, why are you with them? And they all shut right up and say, you're right. That's a great tool. And that's what we do. We're about servicing you. Our tagline is, our business is helping yours. This is just one of the ways we do that. It's a huge recruitment tool. When I talk to brokers who aren't even with us, and I say, how do you contact your existing clients and know when their policies are coming due? They all say to me, it's a pain in my butt. I have to call the BGA and wait for them to get back to me. And it could be a while. Or I have to call 3 or 4 different BGAs, because a typical agent has 2 to 3 BGAs they use. This will consolidate it all into one, and you can become the BGA for that broker.
For sure. Mike, just adding to what Craig mentioned beautifully, we've also seen, like, sometimes these this enforced servicing that you can provide for your advisors, especially if they're at a point where they're retiring, just moving to Florida and then having a fun time and no business in taking care of their old block. It could be like a succession plans where you can take these huge book of businesses and making sure that these clients are serviced. So have you experienced something similar at BGA?
To be upfront with you, we have not, right? But it's a conversation that comes up on a regular basis because we work so very often with an advisor team. right?
Yeah.
Where maybe there is someone who's a junior who might be listed on the policy, or someone who's just brought someone in and has an old book themselves that, again, without, I mean, I think it's fairly obvious, but would be obvious to me, the convenience of that as part of some sort of handoff or retirement or book purchase or those sorts of activities as well. And for that reason, and for a number of others, we have followed into or bought into Proformex because our bigger, badder partners have also bought into Proformex, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, using it with their advisors and sort of matching that up as well.
Sounds good. Thank you for that. Lisa, I know you and we had a conversation where you had some success when it comes to re-engaging with the advisors once you started taking care of these advisors and servicing them at a next level. Would you like to share something on that part?
I just think it gives us another opportunity when we're trying to reach out, and either, a lot of times too, you mentioned agent retires, goes on, the agency is sold. So you're starting a whole new relationship with that agency, because they already may have a relationship with another BGA, as Craig mentioned as well. They can have 2 or 3. So it allows us to say, hey, again, we have this tool. We can give you a list of everything. We can let you know. We can keep you, informed. And so it's helped with us re-engage with some of those agents we maybe weren't doing business with, or left us for whatever reason, or the agency was sold and we kind of had to regain that relationship. And then it gives you something to talk about without just calling and saying, hey, we're the Mound agency. Remember, we used to write with us or whatever. It gives us something new to talk about.
Correct. Yeah. I think it makes them feel they are in the good hands and their business is well taken care of. Alexa, coming back to you, what your thoughts when it comes to recruiting the advisors and making sure they stick with you for repeat business and there is no BGA hopping when it comes to these brokers and advisors? What do you think about that part?
We actually do use it as a recruit. We've had agencies ask us if we have an in-force policy management system.
Yeah.
It's becoming a larger topic, and we have now that we have the ability to do it, we've seen agents who they're more engaged. The comprehensive book of business reports, we use those for agent outreach on birthdays, any reason to reach out, and we have that deliverable. I think it really helps.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, thanks for that. So I think that gave us a really good insights on the challenges that we currently have with Enforce, and if you want to implement one. But let's shift gears and talk about solutions. And by solutions, I mean Proformex, just a plugin. We know Enforce management can be tough, right? And that's why Proformex was created. It's like a tool that it's easy to implement and get inside your current operations. So just on a very high level, just wanted to hear your experience of implementing Proformex in your organization. How did it go? Pain points, if any, feel free to put that too. Starting with maybe Lisa. Let's start with you.
Okay. Well, we were doing we had a manual process kind of in place, but of course it's very time consuming, and it works well when you have the time for it. It doesn't work so well when you're busy. So we jumped on Proformex. And kind of started out slow because we have a lot of old book of business that we had to bring forward. But I would like to say, Bhavna and your team is wonderful in helping us figure out a way to make it work individually for you. Like I said, we have big books of business that we couldn't get. You couldn't get passed over because they've been sold, blah, 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 whatever. So we've loaded that in. And it still takes a little time, but it's all, again, in one place. Gives us a place to go. We have a certain person that works on it. She's very meticulous, as Bhavna knows. And we just have a plan. I think you just have to make sure you have a plan. And once you're on board with Proformex, they provide excellent support and give us opportunities and give us ideas on how to maybe do things differently, or keep us kind of going. So.
Yeah, thank you. And a little disclosure there, this may or may have not been coerced. And maybe we just told Lisa to say some good things about me and the team. But yeah, that's a different topic. Mike, I know we started working pretty late after the implementation happened, but I'm sure you have some insights on getting on board with Proformex.
Yeah, and you really sort of said it that way. It was a matter of we need to do this,
Yeah.
and then sort of explore it and learn about it. And as I was mentioning, matching some of the partners that we work with and having this functionality. The fact that a client is out there asking the question about an enforced policy management system at all, right? Or that would even come to the point of the conversation, right? We talked about it to begin with. So for our purposes for implementation, it's specific to our business there. We have our specialists who might be a consultant in a certain example with an agent or the agent themselves, depending upon the example, which creates two different books of business, right? Separates them, but they also need to be connected in a certain way. So for us, it's been good to in those certainly in those places where they have a lot of personal business. That's really been my focus as far as getting that in front of them, reminding them about that business. There may be some other triggers in place in the other places where they might work as a consultant that would encourage them to go back and make a phone call on that relationship. But in this example, it's them and us, or them and really Proformex, to be able to sort of manage that bit.
Perfect. Yeah, no, thanks for that. Craig, how
Well,
did the implementation for Proformex go?
The implementation of getting the data was very easy. You guys picked the ball and ran with it and delivered the product quickly in a nice, concise form. Our issues inside of the office are different. Our issues inside the office was, well, now how do I take this data and get it out to the agent? We're all busy. I'm extremely busy. And I took it upon myself to do. I just did not have the time to pick up the phone and call everybody and say, hey, Bobby, you got a policy coming due. Or John, you've got a policy that's about to end its conversion period. You ought to call them. I could not keep up with it because we have some $6.5 billion in force right now, which we can see on the sheets. But how do you do that? And we're very fortunate to tell you that talking to Proformex about that, they came out with a solution. And their solution is that we now get daily reports of what's happening and what's changing. And now I don't have to go to the system every day and remember to do that. It's right there in front of me in an email. I forward that on to, very fortunate to have Cheryl Ruiz, who's on this call with us, join us, and I've signed her to do that. And she's making those calls. And I believe we're getting some cases out of already. But you've got to have somebody, you've got to have a system within your office of who's going to take those leads and follow up with them.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, one resource in the office, and consistency is the key there. So yeah, that's what have led to results, wins, and success. Alexa, just quickly wanted to know, how was your experience implementing the Proformex within your daily task and operations?
Onboarding with Proformex was great. So it was pretty simple in the beginning. Once we got our carrier feeds, our organization is a little complex. We have multiple distribution channels, multiple hierarchies, multiple organizations. So we have multiple codes. And so it took a little bit to get the codes in, but Carmen was exceptional. I'd say the only real setback we had was getting our sales team kind of used to the new platform. And remembering that it's there and we have it at our fingertips. So
sweet. Yeah, great to hear how it went, and proud of the team and the work that went into it. Thank you for everything you guys mentioned. But Proformex have many innovative tools, and we are adding more to our suite as we go, as we hear the feedback and the responses. Just curious, which is that one most helpful tool for your operations that have made the biggest difference? Mike, let's start with you. One tool that you have used that you feel like.
Yeah, it would just be the ability to send out a book of business report on a regular basis, right? To our specialists, right, who have those sorts of connections, right? I think multiple channels, multiple codes is maybe an inevitability of this world because we're looking for opportunities for revenue, as are they. And the revenue they can make on the business personally is some of the best as well. So it encourages our specialists to keep a focus on that potential channel for their business, which is better for everyone on the bottom line as well too.
Sweet. Yeah. Lisa, what you guys feel like that has been like a game changer when it comes to any tool of Proformex?
I think for us, it's the emails coming in. Craig had mentioned those daily, you
daily notifications,
set it up how you want it, what you want, when you want them, and all those notifications and alerts to come in. I think that way, if something has fallen through the cracks, we catch it, make sure we notify that agent and let them know. So that's probably a big plus for us.
Agree. Yeah, that we hear that one a lot, because now you're only spending 5 minutes to your enforce, and then you already know what's happening inside your business and what needs attention at that very moment. Alexa, which one is yours?
Ours is the reporting,
the reporting,
the ability to report. I'm echoing. I don't know if anybody else can hear that.
It was there for a second, but now
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry about that. But the reporting, so we've actually had a lot of success with the conversion deadlines report, and lapse pending, and even like at-risk policies. So I would say the reporting function.
Sweet. And Craig?
Well, I would tell you that what I like to do is I like to occasionally go in there and look at the policies by premium. So I sort for the largest premium of those policies going to convert. I did that when we first got the system, and within the first month, I called 2 agents, and we closed $48,000 of premium conversions on 2 policies that never would have been converted. And the calls went like this: "Hey, Bob, you got a policy on John Smith that's about to come due and lose its conversion option. I think you should pick up the phone and call him." He goes, "Nah, he's not going to convert that. I'm not going to waste my time." I said, "Bob, do me a favor, humor me,
Just give a call
and just make the call.
Yeah.
You have a fiduciary responsibility to this client to let him know that he's going to lose that." Well, sure enough, the guy was sick. He converted the policy.
Amazing.
The second agent I call, and by the way, he never called to say thank you, but he was very happy when he got his commission check.
Yeah.
The second guy I called said, "Yeah, I didn't know that. That's great, because I know he's not in good health. I'll make the call." Had an app a couple days later.
Yeah.
So I'd like to focus on the conversions, on the end of the conversion
Correct.
period, because I think it's a great opportunity.
Absolutely.
And you'd be surprised. And, the other opportunities too, if they're coming due to the end, of the conversion period, and they're 70-ish, you may be able to do a life settlement if they don't want to pay the premium.
Sweet. Awesome. Yeah. And I think that was also our next question. We love stories here at Proformex, especially the real life success stories. So we really wanted to hear some interesting one from you. Lisa, how about you? Is there any one specific big win that you would like to share with us?
Well, we've really seen an increase with working with Proformex on our orphan. We go out to the agents, the ones we've worked with, that if we have a deceased agent or we no longer work with them, we will do them ourselves. So we have seen an increased business of writing, in-house cases. But we had a very large case at the end of last year that was at the end of its term years. It was a business policy, it was a buy-sell. They still needed it. And the guy wasn't real healthy, but we were able to get something enforced. The agent, of course, was thrilled. But we were able to notify them, hey, it's at the end of your term. Do they still need this? What do they need? So we got that, as well as making sure that, the other policies, buy-sell policies, they were going to get that rewritten too. So that has been was a really good case for us. It was a large case.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, perfect. And I want to thank you there too. After a few of our conversations on when you were trying to get your hands around in the orphan management process within your system, after we have those conversations and we were able to create some reports, we were able to just replicate that with other firms. And they started seeing an increase in orphan conversions and engagements and getting those clients back, because actually there was no one to take care of them. They didn't know that their policy needs to be taken care of, or some steps needs to be taken action on. So yeah, thanks for that. And we did see success happening when orphan block was taken care of. Alexa, some interesting win or a big success story you would like to share?
Yeah, so our biggest success story with Proformex is again on the conversions. We had 2 policies show up on the conversion deadline, the upcoming conversion deadline. So our sales team reached out to the agent. They worked with the client, and all in all, we converted the 2 policies, and we added 2 additional new policies, and it was about $500,000 in target premium.
Oh,
nice.
That's amazing. Always a time to celebrate those.
Yeah.
Mike, what's your story?
You can let Alexa finish the success story segment. I don't have anything to go over the top of that. Very
Thank
quickly,
you for
what I would
that.
say is it's
Thank you.
opened some doors for our people in the wirehouses where we can
Mhm.
talk about Proformex, which is a service that the wirehouse uses, and have been able to book a number of great meetings and expansive business from that.
All right. Perfect. No, those are some great stories. And in a real life scenario, I'll share with you every time we have a success or a win. When we say we have a success, I mean, you guys have a success. We have our quick kudos channel where we put that success story and then we do like a little celebration. So every win, every success, every day, just validate everything as a team that we are doing here. So for your peers and colleagues out here, and I'm sure there are so many listening, thinking about Proformex, they have maybe had a demo with us, have a calls with us, but still there's something that's stopping us to take the next leap of faith. What advice would you give to them? Like, what should they know before they get started? And you can be honest, good, bad, ugly side, whatever it might be. But what would be that one recommendation or one honest opinion you can give? And Craig, let's start with you.
Make it real simple. You snooze, you lose. Hop on it. Don't let more time pass you by. This is one of the best things we've done in a long time. It's paid for itself. You got to work it. If we work it, it'll pay for itself and you'll grow your business. Just that simple.
Sweet. Mike, because you're next to Craig on my court. How about you?
It would just be to have a very specific plan. I was a little bit intimidated by everything that Proformex could offer me, and I wasn't sure how to translate it into action items or translate it into what could be implemented within the business, whether it was me or our other agents that we're working with. And I feel like I have a much more concise plan. We'll certainly grow within Proformex in our relationship and how we utilize it, but we have a very good specific plan around why we're utilizing it. And Alexa mentioned a deliverable, a consistent Proformex deliverable that reminds the company the utilization of this service that we have.
Awesome. And when you say deliverable, do you more focus on the book of business?
Book of business reports are what I'm referring to. Yes.
Got it. Okay. Alexa, what do you think?
My advice would be the same as Mike's. You make sure you have that plan in place before. Once you have your feeds up and running, you're going to want to hit the ground running. So you want to make sure that you have, you're prepared before. So my advice would be to have that plan ready.
Correct. Okay. And Lisa?
I think you just have to be prepared because there's going to be things that are going to come up. But I think you, again, have to use the Proformex staff, ask questions. I mean, I think you need to just go for it. Like Craig mentioned, jump in, but have a plan. And if there's stumbling blocks along the way, reach out, talk about things, and your staff usually has a way to help us work around those problems.
Solid advice. Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you. A great feedback. I can't say thanks enough today to all of you for sharing your experiences, insights. It is clear that while we have challenges in enforced management today, but tools like ours, Proformex, can make a big difference. Of course, there's just some work involved when we need the right systems in place, a resource, and someone to pick up the phone call and talk to the advisor. But once we have that sorted, everything just falls in line. Lastly, we would like to just open it up for any questions from our audiences. I'm sure we have great panelists here. If you want to address any question to any one of them, please feel free to, and we'll try our best to get them some answers to it. Claudia, do we have any questions in the chat box as of now?
At the current moment, we do not. So we can hang tight for about another minute or so. Just put those last minute questions in there if you've got them. If not, feel free to follow up with our team. We're more than happy to take questions after today's session as well.
Awesome. And I got the first question actually. Can you share some numbers on how much business you placed since implementing this system? Anyone have a rough idea or number? Mike or Craig? Can you come up with a number?
I can tell you that I'm jealous of Alexa's $500,000.
Yeah, very.
Let's go with that. Alexa, would you like to just elaborate a little? What was the workflow, what you actually did, and how did the conversation go?
So our in-force team actually looked at the conversion report, and it was approaching the deadline, so it was very close. So at that point, they reached out to our external field rep, who connected with the agent. And they connected with the client. So we do a lot of joint work too. And so our team helps the agents, and they met with the clients. There was 2 clients, and it was a buy sell as well. And then we did personal policies.
Amazing. All
So
right.
I wasn't really part of like the sales part of it. So I can't really elaborate on the exact
Yes.
conversation they had, but I can tell you what we did before to get to that point.
Awesome. Yeah, but they had the right information to take action on, and that matters a lot.
Yes.
Amazing. Lisa, we do have a question upcoming on the orphan management. Would you be willing to like share a little bit in details on how your process looks like as of now when you're managing this orphan block?
Yeah, well, we, like I said, we have a designated person that does it. So, and we kind of go out 3 months and send lists out. We either do it to the agent, or we contact the client directly with a letter. It's very detailed. It is time consuming, but it has paid off. And we kind of just do those kind of agent reports kind of thing. And then we work that daily just to make sure nothing's falling through the crack. A lot of times those daily ones, we've already caught those in our, when we've already gone out, we've caught those ones. But if not, we make sure, we reach out to the agent on those too. But we kind of go about 3 months out of any kind, term conversion or expiring policy, those types of things.
Sweet. And this one is about, and we touched on it on the implementation part, but this is more on the onboarding processes, because we all know carriers can be a bit iffy to work with. So just if maybe Mike or Alexa, you can share a little about the process of getting the feeds in on the policy data side, working with the carriers. How's that onboarding process for people who are willing and looking forward to join Proformex?
I thought it was pretty straightforward. Just some agreements, and Carmen did the rest.
Yes.
Yeah,
so all you did
Carmen
was
did the rest.
sign. Yeah, so sign some authorization, and when we do all the dirty work, that's how it goes. Sweet. That's what I had. And Claudia, if we have none, I think we are set for a great end, and we can wrap this up.
Perfect. That sounds good. I do not see any other questions, so we will go ahead and bring this to an end. Thank you so much to our panelists for joining us today. Your time, insights, and trust in Proformex are super appreciated. And for everyone who joined us, thanks for spending a little time with us this afternoon. Like we said, if you have any questions as a follow-up, our team is always available to answer those, so please feel free to reach out. But other than that, enjoy the rest of your day.
Awesome. And again, thank you so much, Alexa, Lisa, Craig, and Mike. You guys were awesome. Thank you so much. We cherish your partnership, and I look forward to having more calls with you soon.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Thank you.